My name is Klas Bergling. I'm the father of Tim Bergling, also better known as Avicii. And thank you for letting me come here today and present our foundation and our review on mental health for young people and the situation. Just a quick look in the mirror. I refer to the state of the world's children. The report from UNICEF, their annual report from October last year, the state of the world's children examines for the first time the mental health of children. A neglected area, obviously. That is now in focus due to the pandemic. The report shows that 1 in 7 children lives with mental illness. At the same time, only 2% of countries' health budgets go to mental illness, and only 1% in low-income countries. Suicide is the most common cause of death among people 15 to 24 years. Scary and outrageous that these important issues concerning young people have been given low or, in worst case, minimum priority. Tim was a young man with a dream of becoming a DJ. He had an enormous energy and a musical talent paired with creativity and a focus that later in his short life often required more of his well-being than he himself understood, and nor did we. Tim was exposed to many stresses during his career, and because he was a strong person mentally and physically, you could not always see how he felt. He was often very happy and funny, but had also a great seriousness, a great integrity, and he was a shy person, somewhat introverted, and kept a lot to himself. After Tim's tragic suicide in April 20th, 2018, we got many letters and mails from fans, families all over the world that had experienced mental illness and suicide. We opened Tim's website for fans to communicate their feelings and thoughts about Tim's passing, and also about their own thoughts of life. Many of them had experienced mental illness, so my wife, Anki, and I understood that this was much bigger among young people than we ever knew. So we decided to use this knowledge and Tim's legacy to start the Tim Bergling Foundation late 2019. Also to be open about Tim's suicide and mental illness, and to talk about it. Tim Bergling Foundation advocates for recognizing of suicide as global health emergency. Among our activities, we also cooperate with organizations engaged in preventative action against mental illness and suicide among young people, and to reduce the stigma that surround these issues. Sorry, here, I think I'm a little bit on the wrong page here, but okay, things happen. We grown-ups often talk about mental health of children and young people, but do we ask what they think or what they need? We believe in the ability of young people, and we want to create a better day with help of their own thoughts, ideas, and suggestions. That's why we created For a Better Day, which we could see as the heart of our organization. In context, we have also set up a youth council to advise us and broaden our perspectives for various activities going forward. This book here, quite heavy, it contains 1,000 replies. It's the result of our initiative for a better day, which is a cooperation between organization BRIS, Suicide Zero, and the organization Mind. It contains 1,000 replies from young people, their thoughts, voices, and what they wish for a better day. It is now the guidance for the work in the foundation. The book contains many honest and strongly touching answers, not professionally formulated. And one has to remember that this is the language of young people. I need someone to talk to when the anxiety is killing me, someone who really understands. I do not want to end up in a waiting line that takes an hour to come through. I need help when the anxiety is too uncontrollable. Sorry?
You are one page after.
Yeah, but there's one hanging all the time. I don't know why.
Look here. Look back.
Try this then. Okay. Is it fine now? Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. More ability to express your feelings through music, most of all, to learn to do that. More teaching in school about where to turn if you feel bad, and spread the knowledge about mental illness and where to seek help. I have a strong anxiety every day. I have thoughts that I don't want. I need to talk to someone. I need to feel good. I am not alone in this, but I wish fewer felt as I do. Society needs to change because this society does not feel good. In our work in the foundation, we try different ways to contact and conversation with young people about the mental health. And these organizations on the picture here represent different approaches to the challenges young people have told us about in the activity for a better day. For example, FC Rosengård, which has Sweden's #1 women's soccer team, but also make great contributions to young people's personal development. And they spend 50% each year of their net income on social activities in their local area, and also helps a lot of young people to get jobs. They focus now on mental health and to open up talk of this subject to reduce the stigma that surrounds it. Because in the area where they work, different cultures and religions have also different opinions on talking about mental health. The Music Lifeboy is a small but very good organization which is doing a lot of job to establish music therapy in Sweden, which is still too anonymous. The organization Mind. On January 1, 2020, the national helpline in Sweden was closed down, despite strong criticism from all political circles, experts, and user organizations. We thought that it was incomprehensible and unacceptable and decided to support the organization Mind and their suicide helpline to be open 24/7, 365, which they managed to do already in April 2020. They do a fantastic job, help a lot of people in difficult situations at risk of suicide. Since February 2021, the Swedish Public Health Agency has been commissioned by the government to produce the basis for a new national helpline. The basics would be delivered January 30, 2022, still no information, not as far as I know. Therefore, civil society organizations like mine, Breeze, to mention a few, must continue to do the job as perhaps the state would do. In our initiative for a better day, we see a great need for meaningful leisure activities to hopefully get the kids off the streets. Many young people has asked us for a space where they can do music, produce music. So we think that we can be part of solving the problem. Of course, not solving, but we can be a small part. So we are starting to build music studios this year, and the first one will be in Tensta outside Stockholm, together with the organization Save the Children, or Rädda Barnen in Swedish, which is a fantastic global organization. These studios will also be a meeting place for the young people and to give them an opportunity to talk about things they cannot talk about at home or in school. Avicii Arena is an iconic arena in Stockholm where we collaborate with 3 companies to raise the issues of young people's mental health and well-being. It's in a more public activities here. The arena also meant a lot for Tim, who held 2 of his major concerts here. We believe in combining serious topics with entertainment, like music, song, and dance. It makes the audience more open and receptive. We held a concert in December last year on the theme mental health, and it was called Together for a Better Day. And last month, Children Are Not Born with Prejudices. Children Are Not Born with Prejudices. It was a grand finale on a longer school activities run by Glada Hudik, which is a theater north in Sweden. And young students had carried out workshops on the issues bullying, racism, and other prejudices. It was a fantastic show with strong response from a very young audience of nearly 10,000 people, much love, where we together pushed back prejudices and the stigma. Stigma, which is an underestimated factor affecting mental illness, and the consequences are often severe. We see here the consequences, the different consequences surrounding mental illness, and I will point at one which I think is very important. Issues surrounding by stigma do not receive the same political attention. And I have an example. I think the National Zero Vision against suicide, which was implemented 2008, has still no reliable reduction, or is not systematically introduced in all municipalities. So, how can we reduce the stigma, or how can we sort of light up the situation I talk about? Dare talk about it. It may sound a little bit childish, but we will reduce the stigma by talking openly about mental illness and related problems, even suicide. Not accept the old school, not talk about it. So we need to be brave and take the step. People often ask me, with the knowledge I have today, would I have done something different as a father? Probably, because after Tim tragically ended his life in 2018, I have learned more, and today I know more about the importance of mental health. I also know that education and information about mental health and the factors that increase the risk of mental health will drastically decrease the risk for mental illness and suicide. The more you know, the more you study about this subject, the better prepared you are to handle your own small and others sometimes bigger problems. You will also be a better friend, wife, husband, brother, and sister, because when you start listening to your soul and body, you also understand the importance of listening to others. Despite my sometimes critical view on how mental illness is managed in our society, I am optimistic. Responsible politicians in most countries and important organizations such as WHO and UNICEF are well aware of the situation and the need for sometimes urgent implementation of effective preventative plans and actions. We are waking up and understand the key is cooperation throughout the society: politics, civil society, organization, unions, trade, and industry. You and I must also take responsibility when it's needed. Dare to talk about the problems and dare to listen to our fellow human being. It takes courage and strength to create the necessary change. To change today's reactive care to a proactive care. We cannot do this alone. We must seek cooperation and dare to think outside the box. And we must dare to talk about mental illness and suicide. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Many thanks, Klas, for your touching and encouraging word. And now to another person who also wants us to work more for the children. You are one of our greatest sports star, a champion. But now you are another type of star for our children. Carolina Klüft, welcome.
Will this work or not?
Yes.
It's working? You can hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Well, it's lovely to be here. I'm very honored to be one of the speakers here on this big conference, and I'm excited to see you all here. It's almost too excited when seeing people live now these days, so I'm very, very happy for this opportunity. And such a strong story of Klas. I'm really, really amazed by Avicii and Tim's work, and it's also great to see what Klas has brought forward to us today. It's really, really strong to hear about that. And I have great memories from this city and actually this facility. We stayed at this hotel when I was here in 2006, a long time ago, I'm getting older, and competed in the European Championships here at home, my home track in Gothenburg, in Ullevi, just a few blocks. I don't know the direction, I'm a bit lost now, but it's close here. And it was such an amazing memory, of course, to be on a full stadium with the crowd from most Sweden, but also from international crowd coming to Gothenburg, watching this great competitions with great success for Sweden as a team, and also for me as an athlete to win the European gold here in Gothenburg was, of course, a great memory. And now when I work with children's health, I think a lot about my opportunities as a kid. I grew up in a little village outside of Växjö, a town in south of Sweden. I had the opportunity to play around, to find my physical activity that I loved. I had the opportunity just outside the door. I had parents who could drive me to the club that I started with track and field or athletics the first time. And they also could give me the support during my athlete career later on. But for me to start to have the opportunity to finding my physical activity and the joy of moving around was really, of course, something that built the ground for my health in the long term as well. And this opportunity in Sweden today is not equal for children to experience. It's actually a privilege sometimes to be able to have the opportunity to be physically active and to be active in a club, for example. And this is something that I now dedicate my life to really change the health of children. That is really interconnected, of course, with the mental health. We know that physical activity, food habits, the mental health are well interconnected, and that we have to work with the children in the center with the whole perspective around the children and the child. And that is, of course, challenging, but so crucial and important to change this around that we see in Sweden today. And this is nothing new for you guys here that are really competent around this subject, I'm sure. So what I do now is that I am an operations manager for Generation Pep. That is an organization that was founded in 2016 of the Crown Princess couple of Sweden, Crown Princess Victoria and Prince Daniel. They wanted to do something more for children's health with a focus on physical activity and food habits. They saw what we see and have seen the last years, that it's really not going the right direction. More sedentary behavior, physical activity is going down, the food habits are poorer, and we see the effect on children and their health and the ability of them to have a good life now, today, but also to have a good life in the long term. And so they started Generation Pep, and I started to work with the organization in the start as a project leader, but then I am an operations manager some 3.5 years back. And with the vision that every child in Sweden, young people, should have the ability and desire to live an active and healthy life. And so we have a big focus on all children. And if you focus on all children, you must do different things to make sure that you can get through to all children. And it's also important for us to talk about the desire, or to be inspiration to be physical active, for example, because today sometimes it's like we talk about these questions in a way that some people might think, and some young people might think, this is not for me. I'm a gamer, I want to play computer games, but to have a physical active out of your own interest and your own ability is really important. You have to meet children where they are today, and that is something that we can do a lot better in this country today. But also, of course, the ability, the opportunities. It should not be obstacles in the way. There could be obstacles, but our biggest and most important job is to tear those obstacles away. It should not matter where you're born, what kind of economic your parents have or education, where in Sweden you live. You should have the opportunity to be physical active. And then, of course, you have to work in many different ways. So we try to put the child in the center, and we want to change physical activity and food habits, but we know, like I said before, it's very much interconnected with mental health. So we try to see the whole picture around the kid, to make it easy and inspirational, and also to give tools for the grown-ups, of course, to change this, but also inspiration for the kids, of course, and listen to what they have to say. And so we work in Generation Pep with different parts. We work with, of course, spreading knowledge. We need to spread knowledge about these questions. We need to listen around in the research area. What do they say? What do we see in studies? What can we do? And that is, of course, very important, so that we can raise up this knowledge about these questions in the whole country among all groups of people in Sweden. We try also to give guidance to really give concrete tools in how to change this. How can you change this if you're a teacher or a principal, or you work as a nurse with children's health, or if you work in an organization or a club, sports club, for example. We try to give tools and to help to really push this development forward, to make big difference in the structures and the systems around children. So we want to make also an impact, of course. We want to push this forward. We can see that this is going too slowly. We wish that we don't need to exist. So my main goal is that we can just take Generation Pep away. So this is part of our society. So we have a difference in our society, that this is in our structures, in our systems, so that children would have this possibility. But this is not the case today. So as long as we are needed, we will push this forward as good as we can. And also, we believe a lot in cooperation, of course. We know that we will not be the solution for these questions alone. We know we have to cooperate. We need to work close to all people and grown-ups and structures around children today to make this change. So cooperation for us is part of our DNA, to really work close to anyone that wants to push this forward. And so we need to be in different areas around the kid, of course. We need to be part of making impact, so we can have these policymakers that have power to change the policies, and that is really to make a long-term change that is sustainable over time. And also we need to have this movement. This is kind of our foundation that we are all built on, the movement of people, organizations, schools, preschools, all these people that are really pushing these questions forward. We try to give them the opportunity, give them tools, give them energy, give them an opportunity to spread their good examples all over Sweden. And also, of course, we work through schools. We have all children in Sweden in schools, so there's a good platform. We know the school has an important task to educate our children, but we know that these questions, just like Klas talked about, if we have children that feel good about themselves, that have a mental health and a physical health, they will also improve in school, and they will be able to handle all kind of different tasks in their lives in a better way. And also we have, what we call a healthy start in life. That's when you come to the children's health, when the children are really young. You come as a new parent, you will get the information and the tools to help the family to think about those questions in an easy way, in an inspirational way. But also preschools, of course, where a lot of children today goes to preschool in Sweden. It's a way of connecting to all children. We know that habits also usually come in early ages, so it's really important to be there. And then also, of course, the leisure time after school. What happens then? Do they have the opportunity to be physical active in a club, for example? Are there playgrounds around where they live? Do we have safe bike tracks so they can go by bike and play around? Do we have safe areas so the parents feel safe to let the kids go out and play? So these questions around the leisure time, of course. And then, of course, healthy choices. When you go to a store, we need to help people to make easier and healthier choices. And it's kind of hard today to make good choices. When I was a kid, we went to the little store we could pick candy, and we pointed out one candy at a time, and there was this small bags with no bottom, it was just small like this. Today we can have a big bucket of candy to choose from. So it's kind of difficult today to really make choices that are healthy, and we need to help people and guide them and make it more easier. And of course, there are cooperation on all levels here. You have to work together. You have to create good cooperation and good opportunities to spread their words around children. And for us, it is really, really crucial to work with health promotion and really to change the way for all children and give the opportunity to have physical activity and food habits as a natural part of them growing up for all children. And if we don't have that, we will not make this sustainable over time. So we need to change this structure and systems that we have today, so this is more natural. And then I can do my job and really delete Generation Pep, and we're not needed anymore, which would be my dream, of course. So this will be part of our society, to giving those children the best opportunities. And you can also see, just like a lot of questions are interconnected, but if you look at the sustainability and the social sustainability in the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, that we have and that we really point to. We know also, like this, for example, is policies connecting to physical activity and how they interconnect with 13 out of the 17 goals that we have. So we also know this is not a question just only for children's health here and this today. That's important enough, but it's also for the society as a whole to make it more sustainable and to have a world that we can be proud of, and a world that can give the opportunity for the next generation to live healthy and happy and long lives. That's what we all have to fight for, and the only failure will be to stop trying in my world. And I love to have high goals, and I will not give up in many, many years until we are getting closer to this vision and this dream and this very important goal. So I will keep going, definitely. And so the last thing I will say is that this little young girl that I talked about in the beginning, that had the opportunity to find physical activity and the joy of being physically active, that opportunity should not be a privilege. It should be a right, and it is a right for all children in Sweden today. And that is something we have to work together to change, and to see the whole part of the children, the mental health, the physical health, of course, food habits, and all things around, to give them the opportunity to live long and happy life, because that's what they have the right to do, and that is something that we all can have an impact to change. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carolina, for this energy boost and hopeful words. Yeah. And now, dear audience, now I want to invite you to join and give us your thoughts. But we are quite many. But with today's technology, it is possible. So I hope you will open Slido. Yeah, Slido.com. You can access this from your mobile phone and laptops and so, and use the code #quality2022. And remember, the session code is K2. We are on K2 now. And you will see the questions on your device. Klas and Carolina, you will also answer this question a little later, but first I want to take some other questions with you. Both of you seem to think that the positive development of society is too slow. Is it so?
Yeah.
How are we going to change that?
But I think we're trying to do that right now in our different way of doing that. We have a lot in common, and try to use our platforms to really push this forward out of our perspective. But if you look at the society as a whole, I think it's important to never forget why we changed this. It's for the future generation, and it was really. It's now I can be sometimes ashamed that we have a country that is good in so many ways, but we cannot not give our children a good future, and that is something that we need to remind ourselves every day and keep pushing. And I think this book that Klas brought here today is a good reminder that we also have to listen to the children and their perspective, and have that in the top of our head and top of mind every day, and to see what they tell us and listen to what they have to tell us, and put their needs first. That's what we have to just keep pushing until it's
again and again and again.
Yeah, again, it's like a training for this heptathlon. You have to practice all the time, every day, even if you're tired and it's hard, and sometimes you can feel a bit maybe hopeless and depressing about the numbers coming, and it's like a big mountain to climb, but we have to take it step by step and not stop trying, because it's the only way of pushing this around, I think, and work together.
Yeah.
And I'm impressed of you asked a lot of young people, and you give this book to an important person. Who?
The Stefan Löfven, the Prime Minister, he took it and he made notes, and it was a very good reception from him, really, and we had a good meeting with him. And he mentioned it also in a broader society. So, but we are spreading it. So we still have a few left. So if somebody's really interested, we can send it. Absolutely. Yeah. But I would like to refer to somebody very close to me right now. I mean, physically close to me. That used to say that we know what to do, we know what we shall do. We have all these scientific, examinations, and we have replies, etc. But we don't do it. And do you know who said that before? It was Ingmarie. I heard it before. So I used to refer to that. I think, it's easy to be critical, but I think in this case, we should be critical. And I agree with you. We should also be proud of the society we have. But we have to take a decision here and to make a change. That is very important. And I agree. I think we are doing that from different angles, perspectives.
It would be interesting to hear about it. We have international guests here. I don't know if it's a Swedish thing, but just we want to have this research. We want to be totally sure that we're doing the right thing. But sometimes maybe you need to just try. Go out there and try. Maybe you will fail at the way, but that's part of life. And without trying and go out there and push it forward, it could be you could miss so much, and it definitely goes too slow. So maybe this is not so good to say around this well-educated.
Maybe we can get an answer. Is it a Swedish thing?
Are we too scared? Do we need to be more bold in Sweden, do you think? Yes, I heard yes. Yeah, we're too. We have to push it forward. Yeah, of course. I know our organization is based on scientists, and we need to work close to studies and so on. So it's not what I'm saying, but like you said, Ingmarie, we know so much about this. Yeah. Let's just go out there and try and push it forward and do things and be bold and have courage. And I think that goes for us working in the civil society, but also all the way up to the policymakers.
Yeah. We have to do it in all levels, and all sectors, in same time, I think.
Yeah, and together.
You talk about all children, and how to promote good health for all children. Was it important with all?
Yes, it is. It is important that you promote for all children. That's would be very, very hard for me to say, yeah, we will do it for a few, for those and those, but not for those. So, and then you have to be able to work in different ways to go through to all children, because today children have different opportunities and they have different possibilities to have physical activity, for example. So I think it's very important that you address all children, and then you have to work in a different ways. But it would be difficult to say that these are more important than these. So all children is crucial for us.
And Klas, what is your strongest driving force in your work today? What matters for you?
As I said, when we realized the situation and we see, so we got all these letters, mails, and contacts, and it feels like it's our responsibility to do something. It may sound a little bit, I don't know the word for it in English, but pretentious or so, but it's really the fact. We need to do something good with the heritage of the Tim. We got so much from him, and we can see that it makes a lot of help to other people, so that's it. And it's also a process, of course, to handle the grief. I should be very open with that. Yeah.
And what matters for you, Carolina?
Well, I think what matters for me is the next generation, and to give them the best opportunities. And it's of course very strong to hear about the story of Tim, and I can recognize some of the pressure I guess he was feeling, and you know how hard it could be to just grow up and to handle pressure around you, and you don't have to be a Tim Bergling or Carolina Clift to handle this pressure. You need tools and opportunities and possibilities to handle life. And for me, it's matter to give kids today the possibility to dream of a future and be able to have life skills actually to handle life coming up.
Let's look at the word cloud. What did you think? The biggest is kindness.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it. Inspirational.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of love here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think that together, tillsammans, is the winner.
Yeah, among the
absolutely.
trust and kindness.
Yeah.
These good words, and also to keep kids' voice close by to this is really important, I think, to make change and try to give them faith for the future.
Hope is important.
Yeah, it is.
For all of us in all ages.
For sure.
And it's also more funny to do things together. I mean, you get more done often, not always, but often.
Yeah. Hopefully, if you work in a good way. Yeah.
The time is running, and I'm touched and very, very grateful to you for your inspiration for creating tomorrow today. Thank you very much, and thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening.
Yeah. Thank you.
And thank you.